Today's program is brought to you by Saved by Nature, the Bioblitz.club, and it's sponsored by Keep Coyote Creek Beautiful. Today is a virtual creek insect walk, and Rob just so happens to be an entomologist, and so we're in luck. There's lots of cool stuff to show you this morning.
Let's talk about the non-native species first. So there are many non-native species here in the lake, but also some really interesting native species. So usually when we come here, we do bioblitzes here. So a bioblitz is a nature event where we get lots of people out and we try to document as many different species as possible. And it's a public event. We get lots of kids out, and usually they get the honor of like scooping things with my net out of the lake and out of the creek. But today it's just me and Richard, so I had to do all the hard work, which is fine. And I was surprised to see so many different things that live here in the lake. So let's have a look. For now, you could just see that it's all like, it looks like a soup with lots of swimming things. But let's try and scoop some of them out. It's so difficult to find the actual camera here. Ooh, yeah.
Oh,
no, it
perfect.
actually looks nice. Yeah. So this is a mayfly larva. So many of the things that we find in the lake and in creeks and stuff are young forms or larva or nymph of different insects. And this one is a mayfly. So the larva is aquatic, and it has these 3 long tails and these little antennas you can see on the other side. And then the adult is a flying insect. So once their home dries out, if they live in a little pond or something like that, then they can fly to a new one. So this is a mayfly. You can see the tails. I don't know if you could see that well, but no, I think it's good. I think it's good enough. We could maybe try that later, but I think that's actually good because we have a few big things here. Try to look at the side of the abdomen. The abdomen is the elongated part in the middle. Okay, so we have the head, we have the tails, 3 tails. In the middle, you can see that there are little, we call them leaves-like gills. So these are gills. That's the way that they breathe oxygen from the water. Okay, so each of these critters that live in water, they need to have a way to get their oxygen, right? So some of them have gills and they can get oxygen directly from the water, and others need to go up and get a bubble of air or breathe atmospheric air. So this one has gills, and let's look at the different one. This is a damselfly larva. It's another aquatic insect that the nymph or the young one, juvenile, whatever you want to call it, is aquatic and looks like this. And then after they eat and eat and eat, just like all the other arthropods, like insects and spiders. After they eat and they grow a lot, they need to molt or shed their skin so they can get bigger. So they do that a few times, and then they don't have a complete metamorphosis like butterflies and other insects, but instead the adult will just hatch from a creature that looks like this, even though the adult looks completely different, right? This is a damselfly. Damselflies are related to dragonflies. So imagine a dragonfly that you're probably more familiar with. They have these big wings, they can fly, they don't have these tails. So the tails that we see here, they usually have 3 of them, unless they lose some. These are the gills, okay? That's how they breathe oxygen. And the adult is a flying insect, so they don't need all these tails. And their body looks very different, even though they don't go through complete metamorphosis, because they don't have a pupa stage, okay? So they go from a nymph directly to an adult. And often you could see them actually doing that. It's pretty awesome. So so this is a damselfly. Unlike the mayfly we saw before, this one is a predator. So they feed on all sorts of little insects and crustaceans and other things they can find in the pond. The mayfly is a herbivore. It feeds on little, plant-like things in the water. Okay. So now I'll try and scoop this one out. Wow, he's cooperating with us. Look at that. So this cool creature, this is called a back swimmer. You can see it's a bit big for my spoon, but it's not going anywhere. I think maybe it's a bit tired from swimming in my container. But this is a really cool insect. So this is, I think, the adult. Yeah, I saw the wings earlier. It's called the back swimmer because it's swimming on its back. So we're actually looking at its belly now. And the pointy thing on your right, I guess, is the abdomen, and the head is kind of upside down there, and you can see the big eyes. They see pretty well. They're predators. You can see that their legs are adapted like pedals to swimming, so they swim very well on their back. And the adult can also fly. Okay, so the larva here kind of looks like the adult, but they can fly when the water in the pond dries out. Okay, what else? Oh, the other thing, the shiny thing that you can see on its body, this is actually a bubble of air. So they don't have gills. They can't breathe oxygen in the water. They need to go up and get some air. They trap a bubble of air on their belly, and then they use that oxygen until it runs out, and then they have to go back up and get some more. Usually they run swim very fast, so they're kind of difficult to catch. And if you do happen to hold them, they bite. It's not like they'll come and bite you, but if you hold them, they will bite. And yeah, let's see if we can magnify it a bit using my camera. Just a second.
Wow.
Yeah, I think it's just so cool because you can see, oh, yeah. So you can see it has like a little beak. It's like mouth parts to pierce its prey. You can see the legs. So the two dark spots are the eyes. Oh, and it started swimming. The shiny thing is the bubble of air. Okay, and you can see its strong legs. It can swim very, very well. Full of muscles in there. Okay, cool.
Very nicely done.
Yeah, let's see. Okay, so these are the bigger critters I've got here, and let's see. There was one more thing, and then we can look at the tiny ones, which are also awesome. Yeah. So this is a amphipod or a scud. This little one. Often we find lots of them. Yeah, now it's in focus. Okay. Oh, a side swimmer. They're very common in freshwater, in ponds and creeks, and sometimes under rocks. There are a few different species. Try and enlarge it a bit. Let's see. Looks kind of interesting with all these pixels and things. So yeah. Okay, let's try something else for the tiny, tiny, tiny things, because these are the things we could see easily. But then, whoops, I added some mud into the soup. These are the things we could see easily, but there are lots of other things that we can find in a place like this. So just a second, I need to install my little clip-on lens onto my phone, and then you'll see the real magic. Yeah, right, this is either a non-biting midge. I'll send you some photos later, so you'll be able to see it better. But for now, I think this is not too bad.
Perfect.
Yeah, you can actually see this one now. Okay, so this is some fly larva, and let's look at something else. And higher now. Oh yeah, you can see it. So this is a water flea, Daphnia.
Oh wow!
Try and get. Yeah, you can see it swim.
Oh, cool.
What do you think? Can you see it well? So this is the Daphnia, the water flea. I'll try and get a bit of the water out.
He's really jumping around.
Yeah, they keep swimming. So it's a pretty big individual. I don't see eggs in it. Usually they're completely transparent, so you can see the eggs inside. On this one, I'm not seeing any eggs. But still, it's pretty cool. And now it's posing for us. And yeah, let's get another one. So this one is called the water boatman. It's another aquatic bug. It's related to the big one we saw earlier, the big one swimming down there. Oops. air trapped in there, and then we'll have to come back up and get more air from time to time. Okay, so they can't just stay underwater all the time. And you can see that there are tons of these water fleas. Okay, all the tiny moving things. These are the water fleas that we saw before. And the other thing I saw here is the snail. You can see that it left some trails here. This is an aquatic snail. All these markings. And it's here somewhere. Oh, here it is. It's called a bladder snail. They're very common in the area. We also have some new invasive snails in some of these places. I think they haven't arrived here yet. Oh, but you can see the antenna is out and about.
And you really don't get to see the other side of Hellyer Park like you are today. I'm just going to set up this tripod.
Maybe you notice these things stuck on trees, on mailboxes, on everything in the Bay Area. These are very common. It's a cocoon of a moth called the tussock moth. There are a few different species in our area. Very, very, very common. The caterpillars are not very specific, so they like eating oaks, but they eat many other plants. I just found, so this tree is a willow, and I found lots of caterpillars on this tree. And these are cocoons from last year. So you can see they're very hairy. The hairs protect the pupa inside. And the caterpillar itself is also very hairy. We'll show you one now.
If the cocoon's hairy like that, does it mean it's a hairy caterpillar?
Yeah, because the hairs come from the caterpillar usually. And the hairs usually, if you see a hairy caterpillars, you don't want to touch it because it could have some, itchy characteristic. So yeah, now I'm holding the caterpillar you're not supposed to hold, but these are not too bad. So these are really awesome. It's the tussock moth. They're very common all over the Bay Area. They cover trees and all sorts of plants. I mean, they are not very picky. Unlike my kids, they would eat anything.
Do they do a lot of damage, or are they balanced in the environment?
Well, sometimes they would, because there'd be, so many of them. There could be like an outbreak of caterpillars, and yeah, they could almost defoliate a tree. So they could eat so many leaves that they could actually damage the tree, especially if the tree is not doing well, then that could be a problem. But usually it's okay. This willow has probably dozens of caterpillars on it now. Oh no, we lost it. Yeah, we should move on and go for a little walk.
All right, coming in. And we start to look for them, kids. Kids, tell me if you see them.
You can even see caterpillars there.
Yeah, well.
We found some.
Yep, they see them. They're waving.
You see it?
Yeah.
I see
Where's
it.
the caterpillar?
There's like
Mr. Richard's blind. Oh, there it is. So camouflage. We have the quagga mussel, and it says, basically don't bring anything in this waterway. And then it also says not to feed the ducks, which everybody loves to do. But when you feed them that bread, it doesn't give them the proper nutrients they need to stay warm through the winter. And so they can actually freeze to death. And so there was a woman who probably had every good intention in the world that was feeding all of the animals this morning bread, and it's not good. So that's the reason why it doesn't have the proper nutrients that they need to winter over the fall and winter, okay? So just know not to do that. Let's go for a nature walk. So Mirav's taking us into the Coyote Creek riparian corridor. She's pointing out a bumblebee right now.
Yeah, it's a yellow-faced bumblebee creek.
Yellow-faced bumblebee, which is one of our native bees. Check this out. Just Miss Richard, be quiet now. Okay, I'll be quiet. Okay. Hold on.
I wish we could hear it.
All right, guys, we're back. Pretty relaxing, huh? Coyote Creek right here, San Jose.
Nice to see water in there.
So this is a coast live oak, which is probably our most common native oak. And you know, people always say that oaks are great for birds and other wildlife, and it's mostly because they're great for insects. They support so many insects. And when we look at the tree, we don't see much, right? But then that's why I've got my special tools. So if you saw before, I have my spoon and I have a stick and a tray, which are very special.
Pay attention, kids. Pay close attention.
Yeah. And then, ooh, I found a caterpillar.
Oh, let me put it down.
Yeah, I don't know if you could show that. Oh yeah, maybe put it down. So, yeah, got a little wiggly caterpillar over there. You can see that. There's a tiny, tiny red dot walking there. That's a mite. So this one is a caterpillar of some moth. I don't know which one. And then the tiny, tiny one. So that's a mite. It's related to ticks and stuff like that. Let's see. We can probably get a few more. And I already see some galls, so we can talk about it. Gull wasp. So it's a tiny, tiny wasp. They don't sting or anything like that. But all they're interested is oaks. So like the coast live oak and valley oaks and blue oaks that we have in the Bay Area, they all have galls.
You found a gall wasp?
Yeah, I think so.
Cool.
I mean, they're so tiny, they're difficult to tell, but I think that's what it is. Oh, and I found so some of these caterpillars will, you know, eat the oak and all that and turn into a moth. But this one will actually turn into a wasp. So it looks like a caterpillar, but it's actually a wasp larva. It's called sawfly. So sawflies are very similar. They look similar to caterpillars, but they won't turn into a moth. I'll send you a photo in a minute. Yeah, no, so these are just the caterpillars. Oh, again with some glare.
You can come right up very, very close to the lens.
Oh, yeah. Look at them.
Closer.
So
closer.
the brown one, this is the moth larva. And
Closer.
the green one, I don't know.
Now back a bit.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Back. Right there.
Yeah. Okay, but that's fine. So what I want to tell you about is the galls. So these insects, like the gall wasps, they the mother wasp, okay, the female wasp, lays its eggs on the tree. Maybe Richard, if you could put the camera on like here somewhere, and then I can point out some galls because there are two of them.
Okay. I think that should be good.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so the female wasp will emerge in the spring from a different gall, and then it will lay its egg on a leaf or a branch or something like that on the oak, and then the baby wasps would start eating the plant, and the plant in reaction would create a little structure that will protect the larva inside. And then they will stay there till they're ready to become adults, basically. So here in the back, you can see this one. Can you see this gall? So this round structure. I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, I think you can. So this little ball here, this is the live oak apple gall. Okay, this is one of our common live oak galls. And inside there used to be lots of tiny, tiny wasps. That again, they don't sting or anything like that. They're just interested in this oak. And there was a different one that you could see. Yeah, so if you look at this branch here, okay, can you see this little area here? So you see it doesn't look like the rest of the branch because it had wasps inside. And this one, they're still inside. It didn't hatch yet. So these are probably this year's wasps. The other one is really old. It's probably from a few years ago. Okay. And I think there was another one here. Let's see. Yeah, the other thing you can see here is lots of other little insects like white flies This tiny, tiny, tiny black thing is a whitefly that feeds on coast live oak. And you can see that someone ate these leaves. Some of them are the caterpillars, just like we saw, the tussock moth, okay? Like the caterpillar and the pupa that we saw before, the cocoons, okay? And lots of other insects and other critters that we sometimes find on oaks. And in turn, they support the birds, okay? So the birds would feed on all these different insects. And that's why oaks are so important for us, okay? So maybe let's walk a little bit more and see if we can find some more.
So you can get a an oak guide of all 6 oaks of Santa Clara County for free on our website. So Santa Clara County, we have interior oak, canyon oak, blue oak, black oak, valley oak, and the coast live oak, which is what Murad's investigating right now. What you got, Murad?
An awesome spider. I just took a photo so I could share that with John.
Okay.
But can you see this little spider? So again, it's from the oak, just like this earwig. And this tiny, tiny dot. This is actually a beetle. This, I think, is a rove beetle. Again, I took a photo that I could share later. And this is something happened. Oh, I think John is sharing the photo.
Oh,
awesome.
okay.
Yeah. Oops.
Oh, nice photo. Yeah. Nice. Do we know the name? Reminds me of.
I'm not sure.
It reminds me of orb, but I have no idea. But
I think it might be a pirate spider,
okay.
which is an awesome.
Arr, does it do that? Come on, kids. Let me hear your pirate. So, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us on another virtual adventure today.
Yeah, thank you for joining us. I think it's wonderful that we could still go out and take people out with us, even though we can't actually have public events now. Because that's what we usually do. We take people out to enjoy our parks. Right here in the middle of the city, there are beautiful parks with amazing nature. I mean, you saw the lake, you saw the creek, you saw all these oaks, and there's so much to find here. So we hope you'll join us even after all this madness is gone, and we can go out and do public events again. But if you live far away, you could just join us virtually right now, which is so awesome.
Absolutely. Cool. We have 7 more events on the Saved by Nature website under events, so feel free to go there. All of these programs are free for the public, and we love serving our community. So thank you, John, virtual photo walks. Thank you, Keep Coyote Creek Beautiful, for sponsoring the events. And it's our pleasure to highlight this magnificent county park and this amazing riparian corridor along with Coyote Creek.
Okay, guys.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Yeah.
Is this the first one?
Okay.
That's done.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bill.
Bye.
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 Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.